Hi everyone, it's Tammy at Frou-frou Studio. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do another episode of Relax, Revisit, Remake. If you haven't seen one of these before, basically what I'm doing once a week is going back and revisiting some of the ephemera that I have made in the past. Just flipping through some of my old journals and photos and videos and things like that. And just really reminding myself of things that I have done in the past and I may have forgotten about, or I want to tweak them a little bit from how I made them originally, or I have another idea that may take, parts of something I've made before and, put them in a little bit of a different, use them, I guess, in a different way than I did before. So today I ran across these two tags that I had in my stash that were left over from Valentine's Day last year. And it is another way to use Tim Holtz paper dolls when you have ones that you don't particularly care for or may have been damaged or cut weird. Sometimes you'll get one in your pack and it's cut really strange. For example, this little girl, I can't show you now because I don't have another one, but like half her face was cut off and she just looked really strange. And so I got the idea to flip them upside down and use the back sides kind of like a silhouette. In this example, I have inked it and stamped it as well as this one. And then one of the others that I'm going to use today in a make, I painted with black gesso and then I embossed a stamp on it. So we're going to do a couple of those today and I'll show you what I mean as far as examples of items to use. One is I never use this guy because I think he's creepy. And unless I redo him in some way or remake him, I will never use him. And so by flipping him over, suddenly he becomes not creepy. Yeah. So I can do something to this side, make him more of a silhouette, and end up making something really cool out of him. Another example is this guy. He's got a really weird cut face right here. And otherwise, he's perfectly fine. But he just looks strange to me. But if I'm turning him over, he's much more interesting. And you'll find that both the women and the men that are wearing hats look really good in the silhouettes. If you think about Tim Holtz's Umbrella Man and how mysterious he looks with his little umbrella done in a black cardstock or whatever, that's a kind of a mysterious look to him. And so by painting any of these guys or women black, suddenly they become a silhouette. And so, and even when you stamp them, they have a much cooler look to them than somebody with half a face. this is another example. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this one, other than I have probably 4 or 5 of them. So I would be willing to sacrifice one to make a silhouette because he's got a really cool hat. So you can see when you flip him over, he still has a really cool silhouette, and right away I see some kind of world traveler, or, you know, somebody that's going on a trip somewhere. So I would either paint this black or, you know, use stamps to give him a new look. Another example, and one we're going to use today, is I have this adorable little boy and girl, which this is one of my favorites, but her head has gotten damaged, and now it has a really strange look to it, and it looks like her head is going to fall off. But if I flip her over and turn both of them into a silhouette, then they're fine. So that's just something to think about. And you can do this with any paper dolls. It doesn't have to be Tim Holtz. Or you can cut silhouettes out. But it's just an example of a way to use some of these that you may never use otherwise. Because I don't know if you're like me, but some of them, the faces, which is not, you know, anything against the paper dolls, because I love them. I use them all the time. And, you know, back in the days when they were taking these Victorian photos especially, you had to stand so still when they were using the cameras that, you know, a lot of the people in the photos aren't smiling just because they would be standing there smiling for however long it took to expose the film. So, yeah. Anyway, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this little boy and girl so I can show you an example of a black one, a black silhouette one, and then we will do one, or stamp a couple so I can show you how I stamp them. I'm just going to put a little bit of gesso here in my little tray, and that way this can be drying, and we'll work on the other one that I already have done. This usually takes a couple of coats with the gesso because these are kind of slick, even on the back. They are flatter, less glossy, I guess, on the back than they are on the front, but it is still got kind of a glossy finish to it. I should have sanded it a little bit, and it probably would have took this gesso a little better. Oh, that's kind of cool too, isn't it? Let's do that again. We may have to save that for something else. But gesso dries really quickly, so you can zap 2 or 3 coats on something pretty fast. Oh, he's got a little break at his foot too. Yeah, sometimes these get damaged, and you hate to throw them out because, you know, you spent your money for them. So I hope everyone is doing well today. I went to my niece's little science fair thingy yesterday, And it went quite well. Very interesting. There were several colleges there that were presenting their little projects. And I guess I'm calling it a science fair, but it's really not, because there was all kinds of majors there, business and history and there were 2 judges that came by while we were there. And I thought my niece did a very good job of presenting her project to them. Of course, you know, I'm a little biased, but... Okay, so there is that one. And it's dry. I said we'll wait for it to dry, but, you know, I just dried it with the dryer. And I'm going to spray my brush here and try to get most of this out, and then wrap it up until I can making some interesting collage fodder here. Okay, let me move that out of the way because I'll stick my hand right in it. Alright, so now let's stamp a couple and I'll show you. I mean, it's not rocket science by any means. Get a scrap piece of paper here. Alright, so this guy, for example, that has a really cool hat on and half a face. If we take, first I'm going to take the sanding disc, and if you're going to do this, I would use the archival inks, not distress inks that are going to not dry. Just my opinion. You of course can use whatever you would like. I'll just take a little bit of this off. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way around the edge with walnut stain so that I can see my outline of the guy. And of course, you know I like them grungy. You don't have to do them grungy if you don't want. You can keep it neater. You can keep it white if you wanted to. Just the off-white that it is. That would also work on a dark, if you're doing a dark background. Okay, so we got him inked up so we can see what he looks like. Now let's take some random stamps. The first thing I want to do is like a script stamp. And I'm going to use 3 different colors. I'm going to use shadow gray. I'm going to use potting soil. And I'm going to use my black. And we're just going to kind of alternate. So in the potting soil, no, I think in the shadow gray, I'm going to do just some script everywhere. Just all the way down. And the reason I chose the gray is it's the lightest. So I want that to be my background. So already you can see we have something interesting going on. So the next thing I want to do is bring out some details. And I'm going to use potting soil first. So let's do something unexpected. Let's do a floral. Potting soil here. And you can do them in color. I have colored archival inks. You know, if you wanted to do a particular color, you could. Or you can do neutrals, you know, whatever. Whatever you feel like you want to do would work on this. Okay, and I'm going to take these. Kind of right up one of his legs. Just like that. And then I'm also going to do it like right here. Okay, now I'm going to take black and I'm going to do, I want to do a circle, I think. I'm going to do this one, I believe. And I don't want it to be real prominent. I just want a couple of those on there. Oh, I'm not going to get anywhere stamping on my lid, am I? Okay, so now we have that. Now I want to do a number, and I'm going to do it in black as well. Can I get my 5 on there? I love this 5, but it may be too. Yeah, it's going to be too big. I've got a 4. Put a little bit of glue stick on my block there. See what this, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna put a 4 right here. Just because. And then, do I want anything else? I actually kind of like that one, just like that. So I think I'm going to quit there on that one. I like the way that one came out. So that's an example of how you would stamp one. Let's do one more and then we'll get to the makes. We'll do Creepy Guy and turn him into something less creepy. So this time, let's do the scripty bit in potting soil. Oh, I have an idea. Let me get I'm going to use this math notes on there. And I'm going to do it in the potting soil. Let me sand it first. I didn't sand that one, did I? A quick sand there. Okay, now we're just gonna upside right would have been nice, but that's okay. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. All right, so there is that part. Oh, and I didn't ink around the edges. Let's ink around the edges so he's more defined and we can see what's going on. Okay, and I don't care that I did that because that is oxide. So I can then take a little squirt of water here. See how that comes right off? Because it's oxide. Okay. Now, I'm going to take the gray and I'm going to do some just little splatters on here. We'll make him real grungy since he's creepy anyway. And then what else can we do to him? Am I on screen? Sorry, I had it a little close to me. It's too big. Let's put note on there. Because why not? see. We'll do another circle. What else? What else? What else? Let's do a butterfly. I don't have a butterfly right here, but I can grab one real quick, I think. Yeah, I don't have one laying here. Give me just a sec. I'll reach over here. See if I can find one real quick. I think that top one will work good if I can get just the top one inked. Let's do it. Let's do it in black. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Let's do one in gray too. It'll only be ooh, I like that. Let's do the other wing up here somewhere. Okay. So there's a couple of examples. I could have got that bottom or this butterfly a little better, but I can also put another number or something across there to make it look better. For example, if I did this, and did it in the brown, yep. Okay, so there are a couple of examples of how to stamp them up to make them more interesting. So now what I'm going to do is make a couple of tags and show you how to use them once you have them made up. So for the first one, I'm going to take, this is just a vintage map that I've made into a tag. Kinda. I still have to cut my corners and poke the hole in the top. And I think I cut this 3.5 by 6, so it's a larger tag. Of course, you can make them whatever size you want to. I'm looking for my hole reinforcers. Okay. Now it's a tag. Because I said so, right? And ink around it. It is map on both sides. I just took a piece of this, like a road map, you know, that you get it used to. I don't even know if you can get those anymore. I've never paid attention. Like you could pick up at the gas station, you know, for whatever state you were in. But it's mostly blue on the back side, and I thought it was still, you would still be able to write on it, you know, with a black pen and see it just fine. So I left it. So we're going to take our little shadow dude here, and then I've got some little collage pieces to put with him, because obviously I have made him a guy that's going to be traveling with his little baggage check number claim luggage thingy. So we're going to kind of, this is a claim check for, I think it's for like a coat check room. And I don't know how old they are, but they don't look very old. So I'm trying to make it look older. Let me get my glue book over here. I've got too many parts and pieces going on. We'll move these little guys out of the way. So I'm going to sand it and then ink it, and hopefully it'll yeah, this is for like a coat check, because it says not responsible for contents of garments or anything left overnight. So I've not seen a coat check room in forever either. Okay, so we got that one grunged up, and then I have a British flag, because he is a world traveler. And then I have this little tag that says Paris, London, Rousseau. So yeah, it's got several places, locations on it. So I thought that was appropriate. And then I have this little shieldy looking cutout from Tim Holtz that I thought looked like a highway sign or a route sign. And I'm going to put this number 6 on it, which is a die cut from, or it's not a die cut, it's a Glowforge cutout that I got from Amy at Crafty Cat. She cuts out different things on her Glowforge, and you can purchase those. And she has one set that has a bunch of different fonts of numbers and sizes. And I have almost used all mine, but I did find that number 6 that fits in there fairly nicely. And then this is just looks like a tag. I mean, it is a tag, but I'm not going to use it as a removable tag. I'm going to use it just as a background behind him, but I do want to punch a hole in it and put a reinforcer on it so that it appears to be a tag, if that makes sense. Where'd I put my hole punch? There it is. If it had been a snake, it'd have bit me. If it had been a snake, I'd have screamed, and you'd be sitting here with a video of a snake. I don't like snakes at all. Any kind. I don't care. There are no good snakes, so don't come back and tell me that there are good snakes. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Okay. So, now, let's start building this up. Oh, let me go ahead and glue this on there before I lose it. And now, come on. Glue. Let's not be stubborn today. I've got a lot to do that does not include having to stick my pen in there a bunch of times to get you unclogged. So you just need to wake up. Ah, had a goopy. Get out of there. All right, now we're good. I've already got ink all over me. Look at that. All right, so we're going to put that down on there. Give us a little highway 6 here. All right, let's start gluing some things down now and get my glue book out of the way. So I want this kind of behind him, and it will definitely be the bottom layer, so we can go ahead and put it down. Oh, move it over, Tammy. You gotta fit him on there. Okay, so there is that piece, and then I want to just kind of collage these other things on here. My 6 and my flag. Make sure and get them. About like that. So I'm going to take each piece up and glue it down. So I can be sure and get it back where I want it. This one's next. You can also glue from the top down, and I do that sometimes if I feel like it's going to be extremely difficult. But when I'll just have like 4 little pieces here. I think I can manage. Okay, and then we'll glue him down. This one I painted just over the front with gesso. That's another option, is just paint over the front of it. As long as you use, you know, a gesso or a good acrylic, it'll go over the photo side of it or the print side of it. Okay, and then I'm going to take my Stabilo All, which I think is over here in my pencil thing, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's over here in my drawer. No. It has to be in my little pencil cup. But it's not. It's probably right in front of me again. It's shorter where I've sharpened it, so sometimes I lose it in my pencil cup, but I don't see it. Let me look in my drawer again. If not, I can always do that later. I was just going to add a shadow underneath his feet. There it is. It was hiding. So he's not standing on air or in the ocean in this particular case. So I just kind of smear it there and then take my water pen and because it's water soluble, which my water pen's about empty, I think. Let me put a little squirt of water on my glass mat. Okay. I'm going to dab that a little bit. Now when that dries, it'll be much lighter than that. Okay, so there's the first one. Now for the other one, I'm going to use it in kind of a different way. For this one, I have a piece of Tim Holtz paper that I've cut down, and I think I just did this one. Did I do this one 3.5 too? It's probably more like 3 1/4. Just whatever you feel like. And again, I didn't back it. I think that's wide enough to write on. So I'm going to go ahead and make it a tag. Eyeballing. If you need it to be precise, you can measure. Now we're going to use our little boy and girl on this one. Now, I could emboss something on there, but in this particular make, the way I want to use it, I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it just how it is. Because of the idea that I have for this particular tag. So I'm going to ink. Now this paper is in the memorandum set of Tim Holtz papers. And it looks like children's writing paper and a report card. And like I said, I just cut it out of the 8x8 sheet. And then I have this little gentleman, and we are going to give him the persona of a teacher. And I have one of the little Tim Holtz. This was cut out of Tim Holtz paper as well. Just number 8. I have a label, just a plain old label. Grunge it up a little bit. And I picked this label because this that's printed on the paper, I wanted another red element. And then I have this, which is also Tim Holtz ephemera. And it's just the ABCs and sign language, numbers, stuff like that. Looks like school related items. I have a tag, which I'm not going to decorate the tag today. But I wanted to have it so I could leave a space for it. And then I have this little ruler piece. So what we're going to do is, I want this to be a pocket for this tag. And I think I'm going to make it even with that hole. Okay, and then this guy, our little teacher, is going to sit on the ruler. Just like that. And I'm going to put his little coattails behind. And I have to move him up so his feet aren't dangling off the end of the tag. And then the label is going to go behind his head. With the number 8 upside down. Like that. And then our little silhouettes are going to represent all his students. And they're going to go back here. Kind of like that. Isn't that cute? So, first thing we need to do is glue down our pocket. So I'm going to see exactly where that needs to go. Needs to go on that red line right there. So let me make just a little mark so I know which one. And I'm going to put just a little thin line. We may have to trim our back tag down a little bit because I'm not putting any gussets on the pocket. I probably should, but I'm not gonna, for the sake of the video. I'm sure it's already been too long. Alright, so there is that, and then in order to get his feet in, the ruler, let's glue the ruler on first because I want his coattails behind. Upside down. All that work, and I put the ruler upside down. Okay, so let me glue that on. So I don't have to keep manipulating it around. Alright, so we need to put our 8 on our label. And then figure out so if I put that on that blue line, oh, no, I don't want to do that because I got to put my tag in there. It's got to come down. So I'm going to put it right on that blue line that goes, the first blue line at the top of the pocket. Right there. Get my ruler straight. Okay, so my tag will go down in here, and like I thought, I'm going to have to make it a little bit narrower. And then my kids are going to go right here. So I'm going to glue them down from her elbow down. This is how I talk to myself, guys, when I'm not filming, too, to remember where I'm supposed to be putting stuff. So you're hearing the real deal. So at least when I'm making videos and I'm talking to myself, I feel like I'm talking to somebody. It makes me feel a little bit better about it. Get my trimmer here. I'm going to take a little bit off each edge. Just so I can go ahead and have it the right size. And then when I decide what I'm going to put on it, it'll be ready. So that's going to fit. Okay, that is going to fit. I'm going to make it fit. Let me stretch my pocket out a little bit. Do not make me regret not putting Gusset's pocket. Cooperate with me. There we go. All right, now we can put our teacher on there. I'm going to glue it all the way down, then I'll cut the hangover pieces of ruler off. Once I know I've got it in the right spot and got it straight and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's trim that off. There you go. I think that's really cute. And that is our remake for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed that and it gave you some ideas for different uses for the paper dolls than what you may have done in the past. I think both of these are going to be really cute. So I will put these in my stash and use them in as a matter of fact, I could probably use one in this journal if I can find a spot to put it, because I'm almost done with this one and it is neutrals. So we could put him right there on that belly band. That's pretty cool looking, isn't it? We could use this one as well, but I don't want to block her so much. I'll be doing a flip through of this in a video in a little bit if you want to see all the details. That's really all the only place. I could cover up that woman with the creepy eyes. She looks like she's possessed or something because the camera I think I'll do that. The camera made her eyes white, so she looks really creepy. But what can you expect from a camera from 1906, right? So yeah, I'm going to put it right there. It's kind of cool. I don't think I have a place to put the other one. I really like to put it there, but I don't want to block her face. If I put it all the way down, I could put it over here, but then it looks weird next to her. I could put it underneath. Coulda. I think I'm going to do it right there. I really like the idea of it being on that belly band. So if I go halfway down his body, creepy guy, you're getting a reprieve. Did I go too far? No, but I put glue on the wrong side. Right, I want it, yeah, I want it down this side. I think it's a better option. Timmy, you know you could just move the envelope until you get done. I'm going to take that out because I put glue too far over and I don't want it to glue my belly band or my journal card. Yeah, because see how cool that looks when you take it out? Yep. Okay, I'm going to leave those out for a minute. Alright, so that does it. I'm going to quit. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you do something crafty today. Next week for this series, I am going to be remaking a interactive piece using the Viewmaster die, this one. So if you have that die and want to cut a few to craft along with me, or if you have original Viewmaster slides, which I do not, I look for them all the time, I can't find any. I'd probably squeal with joy if I found some in the thrift store, but and I refuse to get them off Etsy or anything because in most cases they're asking too much for them. But it's one of those things that I wish I had, and then when you find it, you're so thrilled. So yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.